Juanita's at the diner, you know Barney will be there. Well, I'm going to Mayberry, Mayberry, here I come. Oh, well, I'm going to Mayberry, where the sheriff don't wear no gun. Yes, I'm going to Mayberry, where the sheriff don't wear no gun. Well, I'm going to Mayberry, where Andy don't wear no gun.
Tootsie, goodbye. Tootsie, don't cry.
All right, everybody sing along. This is my
kind of town, Mayberry is my kind of town, Mayberry is my kind of people too, people who smile at you, and each time I roam, Mayberry is, it's calling me home. Mayberry is one town that won't let you down. It's my kind of town. Not much of a fancy. Yes, this is my kind of town. Mount Airy is my kind of town. Mount Airy is my kind of razzmatazz, and it has all that jazz. And each time I leave Mount Airy is,
I love this song.
it's stuck in my sleeve. Mount Airy is the Griffith Playhouse. Mount Airy is the pork chop sandwich. Mount Airy is one town that won't let you down. It's mine, all of it is mine, kind of town.
Hey, everybody. It's good to have you here in Mayberry with me tonight. Now, you guys that are on the video, you're going to get to see a little special treat here. Because as I was looking around, I couldn't find the whole thing. But you guys have heard that. That is Ron Quincy from up in Canada. He was at Mayberry Days singing My Kind of Town. Mayberry is, I don't have the entire clip, but you guys need to see this. This was him singing, so you guys will get to see it. And Ron, go ahead and take it away and let me flip over there for the video. You guys will enjoy this to kind of kick our show off. This is actually Ron Quincy. You'll be able to see him. So here we go. Whoops. There he is.
One town that won't let you down. It's my kind of town. Yes, this is my kind of town. Mount Airy is my kind of town. Mount Airy is my kind of razzmatazz, and it has all that jazz. And each time I leave Mount Airy, it's stuck in my sleeve. Mount Airy is the Griffith Playhouse. Mount Airy is the pork chop sandwich. Mount Airy is one town that will never let you down. It's mine, all of it is mine, kind of
So there we go. Ron Quincy, ladies and gentlemen. My kind of town. He was a great man. He is the sponsor of the Cats Award that's given out each year at Mayberry Days. I hope you guys have heard about him, but that is him. I found a video today of him with the Mayberry cut-ups there behind him, I suppose. That was David Brownie as Barney, Phil Lee as Ernest T, and myself as Floyd. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was fun for me. I ran across that. I was like, oh, this is a great video. So anyway, it's not the whole thing. I don't know how I don't have the whole clip, but that's what I have. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. So Ron Quincy, thank you so much for the smiles and for all the great memories I have of you. So thank you. All right, guys, tonight we're going to be doing a podcast. I don't know if you knew about that. This is Two Chairs, No Waiting. For those of you that are new to the show, I have a lurker on the side over here. What you need? The deadline to sign up for the depot, if you're coming to the Mayberry meetup in Mount Airy, North Carolina, is the 10th of July. 10th of July. So there you go. So they know it in the chat room now. So if you're coming to the depot and you haven't already signed up, make sure you sign up on the registration for the Two Chairs meetup, or it's actually the Mayberry meetup in Mount Airy as well. No, he's not related to Steve Quincy. Ron Quincy isn't, as far as I know. So anyway, we have got a pretty good show for you tonight. I think you're going to enjoy yourself. I know I've enjoyed looking up some of the stuff. You're going to learn something, or maybe you're not. I'm going to learn. I learned something this week when I was trying to prepare for this. So this is, I don't know exactly how Mayberry related it is, but it is Mayberry related. And you know what? I don't think I got the, did I get those ready? No, I didn't. There's a video, a picture here I need to grab. So hold on while we're talking. Let you listen to Ernest T. Bass. Here, take it away, Ernest T.
All that ride, jump in the fire, fire too hot, jump in the pot, pot too black, jump in the crack, crack too high, jump in the sky, sky too blue, jump in canoe, canoe too shallow, jump in the tallow, tallow too soft, jump in the loft, loft too rotten, jump in the cotton, cotton so white she stayed there all night. Andy Griffith on TV, Sheriff Taylor Mayberry, Mount Pilot, North Carolina, Raleigh, Fishing Hole, Ernest T, Courthouse, OP, Goober Pile, Gomer Pile, Golly!
Hi, Marty.
Hi, Hope. Hey, Andy. Hey, Barn.
Hey, Gomer. Oh, hi. Hey.
Hi. Anybody ready for some lunch?
Aunt B in the kitchen, lousy pickles, good fried chicken, Helen Crump, Otis drunk, Emmett's fix-it shop. Criminals would come to town, Fearless Fife tracks him down, his eyes would pop, his gun would drop, he's our favorite TV
Sing along.
cop. We love Barney Fife, yeah. He's the deputy of Mayberry. We love Barney Fife. That's my name.
All right, so we're going to stop that so we get back to the show. The reason I was getting some pictures ready for you guys to be able to see in a little while, so I need to do that. I'm always behind. It seems like every time I do the podcast, I'm a little bit behind getting everything ready because I think of other things I want to show you. I got distracted by the Ron Quincy video. I'll be honest. All right, so let's see how our chat room is doing. I see a whole bunch of folks in here. 34 folks. It's good to have all of you with us. I am sure we also have folks over on our Facebook page. Let me go over that direction and see what I'm seeing, because there's 34 folks here at the live.twocairsnowaiting.com. Let me say hi to them. I see AY321, Goober Fife, Emmett Clark, Brisket, Joanne, C-Mac. It's going to have you here with us. Anthony Sizemore, Indiana Steve, Kentucky Mike, Susan, Cousin Roger, Skinny Griffin, Lydia, she's here, Asa, Mary Grace, and Howard, Karen Burgess, Randy Vincent, R-A-N-N-Y. Randy, it's good to have you here with us. Thank you for being here. And tell Danny hi too. I know he's there with you. Joey, and Johnny Paul Jason, and there may be some more, but that's what I see right now in our chat room. And then over on Facebook, there's at least 13 people watching over there on Facebook as well. I can't see who all they all are. I can see there's been 10 comments. I see Christy McClendon, Andalana is over there, and Danny, there's Danny Vinson. Danny and Randy are brothers. They're twins. You'll hear from Randy in a few minutes. We got Joyce is over there, and John, and then there's, like I said, 10 other comments over there. If you'd like to be a part of the chat room, you can head over to live.2chairsnowaiting, and the folks there on Facebook, that chat room you see, that's where you can be a part of it. So head over there and visit with us. All right, so let's get this show on the road. Now, tonight's episode is called, I have to look, it's Picnic Time at Foley's. Picnic Time at Foley's. So that's inspired by a email I got this week, feedback I got from you guys, a question. So hopefully the person who asked the questions will be able to hear the answer to the question that they ask us. So thanks for writing in. And I think we can get this show rolling. We got some voicemail. We've got, let's see, what else we got? I got a couple of things to answer. And you're going to learn some stuff because there's a few things here. And we got a note from Randy who's going to talk about donating to the podcast. So, you know, I really like that topic. I don't know. Let me, no, really, I appreciate those that are able to donate and help out on the podcast, and those who can't, I completely understand. So don't feel bad about it if you can't or don't want to or whatever. As long as you're here and visit with me here in Mayberry, you know, that's a pretty good reward. So thanks to everybody. Let's get this show rolling, and then we will see what else we can find out on the backside of this. Let me close down a couple of things I had open. All right, let me check my sound levels because I was messing with them. Hold on. Okay, I think we're ready to go. So I'm going to cover you guys up on the chat room so I won't be distracted by you. I look jaundiced. Somebody in the chat room said I look jaundiced tonight. Do I look real yellow? Yeah, I hadn't been out in the sun much. Maybe that's it. I need to get out in the sun more. Let me see. Maybe get a light closer to me. Maybe that'll help a little. Let's see what else is going on in the chat room. Master Control is ready. I believe we're ready to go. So if I look a little yellow, just adjust your monitor. All right. Who you calling yeller? Some weak-kneed, yellow-bellied turncoat. That's what it is. All right. Let's get this show rolling. Chairs No Waiting, episode number 537, Picnic Time at Foley's. Two Chairs No Waiting is brought to you each week by the fine folks over at Weaver's Department Store. Drop by over at Weaver's and check out some of the Mayberry finest coffees. That's right, you can have the sunny Sunday morning breakfast blend. You'll want to get that one. And there's also a decaffeinated and dark roasted. Go over to weaversdepartmentstore.com and check that out. While you're there, you might want to check out Messages from Mayberry. It's another Mayberry Bible study book to go along with the one from Joey Fan. So go over to Weaver's Department Store and check it out. Two Chairs No Waiting is also brought to you by donations from listeners like you. The executive producer of episode number 537 is Susan Gozer. So thank you, Susan. She is executive producer. She went and did a PayPal donation to me. I'll take any kind of money you can give me. So thank you. And who am I, by the way? I'm Alan Newsome, your host for Two Chairs No Waiting. I'm a huge Mayberry fan like you, or you wouldn't be trying to find a show about the Andy Griffith Show. I assume you're a pretty big fan. And tonight we're going to be talking about, as I said, picnic time at Foley's, because I have a email that came in referring to something that will tie that in. So we got you're going to learn some things tonight. They may or may not be totally related to the Andy Griffith Show, but they're at least tangentially. Oh, that's a big word I learned this week from the Learn a Word book, tangentially tied into the Andy Griffith Show. So I said we have a couple of voicemails. So let's go on and hear one of our voicemails. And this is from Richard. and take it away.
Hi, this is Richard from Stallings. I just had a couple of things that you probably already know, but I don't know if the Mayberry squad cars had front license plates on, but actually in North Carolina, they did away with license plates in the front in 1951 because of lack of metal. Also, on the Today Show with Matt Lauer, there was an interview with Barney and Andy, and he asked Andy about the gun, and Andy said the only reason that he didn't wear a gun is because he couldn't stand any weight on his leg. And Barney said, "Oh, I didn't know that." And he said, "Yeah, that was the reason." Just a couple tidbits. So have a good evening. Thank you.
Wow, Richard, thank you. Richard's calling in from Stallings, North Carolina. And his first question there, first comment was about the front license plates on the squad car. Now, on the Andy Griffith Show, the squad car did have a license plate on the front. It did have one up there. So if you look, if you go and look at the pictures and stuff that we have on the at Weaver's, if you go look at there, there's a picture of the license plate that they sell. You can see the car, and the car actually does have a front license plate. But I went out and did some research since Richard brought this up and checked, and sure enough, that North Carolina once required front and back license plate, but the General Assembly amended the state law, which is called GS 2063 in 1951, to permit the DMV commissioner to issue only one registration plate for each motor vehicle if he or she determined that there was, quote, an actual or threatened shortage of metal. This is true. Now, this was in 1951. Eventually, GS 2063, which is the law, I assume, or the guidance, was amended to simply require, regardless of the availability of metal, that only one registration plate be issued and that plate be attached to the rear of a motor vehicle. And it goes on to tell you some other things. I'll have a link in the show notes about this if you're really interested in North Carolina law, but that's interesting. I didn't know that. Of course, the Andy Griffith Show was filmed in California, and it does require a front and back license plate, so they probably just assumed, because there's only, I think as I was researching it, I'm probably going to get this wrong, but there are 31 states that require them on the front and the back. And so there's only 19 that don't, and most of those are in the Southeast. So the Southeastern United States, we tend to only have license plates on the back of our car. There you go. Wow. See, I told you, you tuned into this podcast about the Andy Griffith Show and you learned something. But here's what I want to encourage. Since Weaver's sells the license plates, feel free to buy one for both the front and the back of your car. Mr. Weaver will appreciate it. So go and you can check those out over at Weaver's Department Store. So thank you so much for calling in. And he had one other thing that he mentioned. He said Andy didn't like the weight of the gun on his leg. You remember that? Well, what he was talking about was an interview that was performed by Matt Lauer on the Today Show back on March the 4th, 1996. And Andy and Don were there. And he had just been talking to them about there's not much crime in Mayberry. And Andy said, no, you might have a chicken thief or a bank robber or something once in a while, but in general, there wasn't much. And then Matt goes on to say this.
Matter of fact, you didn't even carry a gun, did you?
The real reason I didn't wear one is I didn't want that weight on my hip.
I didn't know that.
You didn't?
No.
You did.
So that's it. You didn't? Well, yeah, you didn't know that. So there's what he was talking about. That was from the Today Show back in 1996, March the 4th. So thank you, Richard, for reminding us of that information. It's cool. It's fun little tidbits you get here on the Andy Griffith Show podcast that we have here. So I've got another one before we got a voicemail coming up in a few minutes, but I got another one that I wanted to talk to you about. Now, this was an email I got, and it was from David Bernardo. I'm sure I'm not saying this. Bernaro. Thank you, David. I'm sorry I butchered your name, I'm sure. He wrote in to say this. He said, "Hi, Alan. Curious if you know the answer to this." Okay. He says, many times when they show scenes by the local grocery store, Foley's, when they show those scenes, they have ads on the windows of the Foley's that are for something called picnics. And sure enough, it says picnics for 29 cents. It's 29 cents, picnics. He said, I always thought a picnic was an activity, not a physical item. Okay. Do you know what this is referring to? So that's where the podcast title came from today. That's called Picnic Time at Foley's. So he was wanting to know, where does this come from? So, and it's from Dave in Austin, Texas. So thank you, Dave. So I went out to find an answer to this because I had seen that before. And sure enough, it does say picnics is one of the things for sales. You know, there's things, this is from the Convicts at Large episode. I've got a screen capture that I'll post on our Facebook page for you to see. If you're watching the video version, you're seeing it right now. And it was from episode number 47, Convicts at Large, that aired on December the 10th, 1962. And you can see that fancy tomatoes are 10 cents, bologna is 25 cents, and something is 19 cents, but you can't see what it is, at least in this picture. And then sure enough, it says picnics, Picnics, just like the activity, picnics, 29 cents. So I looked it up. And the definition, there is a third definition for picnic other than going on a picnic, is a shoulder of pork with much of the butt removed. Okay. So a picnic shoulder or picnic roast cut has less fat and is more connective tissue than the Boston butt, meaning that it needs to be cooked a little longer, blah, blah, blah. It goes into all that. A picnic shoulder is another name for it, or a pork shoulder is the cut of pork that comes, as you might expect, from the shoulder area of the pig. Okay. Since the shoulder of the pig is a leg, the pigs do a lot of walking on it. So the shoulder cut is with muscles that get a lot of work, and all that work and walking around gives you a shoulder that has a lot of flavor. It also gives you a cut that could be called a lot of texture. Without proper cooking, it can be tough, but with the right cooking method, it will bring out the fabulous flavor. So they're called a picnic shoulder, a pork shoulder, or sometimes a picnic roast. Okay. Now, I didn't know this. You guys are much smarter than me, and so you may know these things, but I did not know this. But the shoulder cut, there's a picture of it I'm looking at. It looks very good, but I didn't know how pigs are laid out. If you told me a Boston butt, I always kind of thought it came from the back of the pig, but that's where the ham comes from. I didn't know that. So the Boston butt is some reason named Boston butt, but it's really just above the shoulders and behind the head of the pig. But the picnic shoulder is just below that, and just where the front leg comes up into the joint there of the shoulder of the pig. So that's where the picnic comes from. I'm sure this is more than anybody wanted to know, but this was interesting to me because I am all in favor of eating bacon and ham and other things such as this. So this was interesting to me. I did not know where the term came from, but it's very easy to see on the episode from the Andy Griffith Show, the word picnic, and there's a few shots of it. Andy walks by it. Mr. Oh my goodness, O'Malley can also be seen standing right in front of the sign. So it's a very easy one to see. And let me tell you, you can see this information if you want to go and check it out for yourself on Convicts at Large. You'll see it on the Foley's Market windows. It's also in episode number, that was 74 is the episode number. And then episode number 78 aired. It was aired number 78. It's Barney and the Governor, and which was only about a month later is when it was aired. That was both in season 3. Then in season 4, which was a year later after those, so those picnics were on sale for a long time there, on Hot Rod Otis. It's in episode number 114. These are the air dates, not the film dates. and episode 119, Bargain Day, which was only about a month after Hot Rod Otis. So that's 4 episodes it was in. It was also in Barney's Uniform and Aunt Bee the Swinger, which were in season 5 and 6 respectively. So for several years, Foley's had a sale on picnics, just so you know that. Yeah, so that was you didn't have to miss out on that sale. It was going to happen. So there you go. If you'd like to watch for those on the shows, those are the ones to watch for. So be on the lookout. All right. So let's see what else have I got here. I have got another voicemail. So let's hear this from, I think this is from Randy. So Randy, I think you can take this away. Let me see as soon as I can get to it. Here we go. Here's Randy.
Hey, Alan. This is Randy Vinson. I'm the identical twin brother to Danny Vinson. I think you know him. And he kind of turned you on to my wife and myself a few months back on your podcast, and we really love it. We appreciate your efforts there, buddy. That's a neat show there. And Jennifer and I want to kind of help you out a little bit. You know, you got to tip them a quarter. So we've donated a little bit to you there, but love to talk to you sometime. But again, appreciate what you do with the show there, and keep it going, buddy. See you. Have a good Mayberry Day.
Wow. Thank you, Randy. So I've got a picture of Randy, and he is Danny Vincent. I've known him for several years, and I've got a picture here I've showing on the video version, but they're twin brothers. They were on Cooper and Company. There's a picture I've got them with Jamie Cooper. Now, some of you guys have heard me talk about Jamie Cooper before, because that was the first place I ever did Floyd. And I've shown that video here on the podcast. You can probably go back and search on twochairsnowaiting.com and search for Jamie Cooper, or Cooper even, and you'll see it. But thank you, Randy. Thank you, Danny, for turning him on to us and getting him in here. Thank you for the donation. Folks, I appreciate all the help that you can give me. When you do, when you're able to, you can donate to the podcast using PayPal, which is what Randy did. You can find all that information right there on the Two Chairs No Waiting page. And you can also become a patron at Patreon and choose to donate $1 an episode, or, $2 an episode, $3, whatever you'd like to do. And then you're only charged if I actually put out an episode. So you only have to donate if I put out something. So that makes it a little easier for you. Or if you can't do any of those things, thank you anyway for being here. I really do appreciate being able to spend time with you in Mayberry. I mean, that's what it's all about, is just developing these friendships. So, go out there and spread the word and tell people about the Andy Griffith Show. Tell them about the podcast, and that's payment enough. But I do appreciate those that are able to donate. So thank you, Randy. You will be an executive producer just like Susan was tonight in the coming weeks. So thank you very much. All right, let's see. I thought I had one more thing I was going to tell you, but of course now I have completely forgotten. Oh, as far as the pork roast, the shoulder, the picnic, there will be some links in our show notes about what it is and how to cook it and all that kind of good stuff. So if you're interested in that, head over to our show notes and you'll be able to pick up on it right there. Have I got another thing to cover? I don't think I do. I think that's all. So folks, now you get to get past me and you get to go and hear This Week in Mayberry History from our great friend, Randy Turner.
Welcome to This Week in Mayberry History, a report by special correspondent Randy Turner of the Gomer and Cooper Pyle Comic Book Literary Guild of the Mayberry Historical Society.
Richard X. Slattery was born in the Bronx on June the 26th, 1925. In 2 color episodes featuring guest star Don Knotts, Richard played Captain Dewhurst, the head of the detective division in Raleigh and Barney's boss. Richard attended a Catholic all-boys school located near Yankee Stadium, then attended Fordham University for college on track and football scholarships. When the United States entered World War II, Richard left school and enrolled in the Air Force. He served as a lieutenant stationed in the Pacific for 2.5 years. After his service, Richard dabbled in acting and was eventually cast in a small, uncredited role in the 1946 war drama Till the End of Time. 2 years later, and in need of steady work, Richard completed his training and became a police officer in New York City in 1948. His Irish immigrant father was also a police officer in the city. He still worked as an actor upon occasion, even landing a role in a 1949 episode of the newspaper reporter drama series The Big Story. However, most of his acting was done in community theater in the Bronx and in police academy training films. Richard remained a police officer for 12 years, but in 1959 was cast in a bit role in the police drama Naked City, which was filmed on location in the Bronx. 2 years later, he returned to the same series in a bigger role and also appeared in the long-running anthology TV show Armstrong Circle Theater. By the time of these two 1961 appearances, Richard had just left the police force in hopes of becoming a professional actor. He relocated to Los Angeles that year and was soon landing small roles in series such as Route 66 and The Defenders. Richard's big break came in 1962 when he was cast as a series regular, First Sergeant John McKenna, in the war series The Gallant Men. While the show lasted only 1 year, it was a plus for his credentials. A large man with a square jaw and a gravelly voice, Richard was often cast as police officers and military men when playing a good guy, but those same qualities also allowed him to excel as the heavy. Richard continued to appear in series such as Rawhide and The Alfred Hitchcock Hour. He made his first guest appearance in the comedy Bewitched in 1965. That same year, he was again cast as a series regular, this time as Captain John Morton, in the TV version of the hit military Broadway show and then movie Mr. Roberts, which also lasted just 1 season. After appearances in series as varied as The Invaders, F Troop, and The Green Hornet, Richard appeared in the Mayberry universe. In the 7th season episode A Visit to Barney Fife, when Andy went to visit his old friend, he found out Barney was on the verge of being fired by his boss, Captain Dewhurst, played by Richard. Barney's job was saved when he cracked the robbery ring, with Andy's help, that had been plaguing the city. Richard returned the final season of the show in the same role, this time relying on Barney's recommendation to use Mayberry for an important summit meeting. That episode, Barney hosts the summit meeting, was the highest-rated episode of the entire series. Richard also appeared in the 1970 second season episode of Mayberry RFD. In 1972, Richard made his final of 9 guest appearances, all as different characters in Bewitched. The following year, he appeared in the film Walking Tall and continued to appear in episodic television and other films. Richard's last regular role was as Captain Buckner in the 1977-1978 comedy C.P.O. Sharkey, starring Don Rickles, or as we in Mayberry like to think of him, Newt Monroe. In spite of his extensive work in film and television, Richard may be best remembered for his longest-running role. He played Murph, the gas station owner, in commercials for Union Oil. The commercials were all shot at the Union 76 station by Dodger Stadium and aired nationally during Major League Baseball, football, and basketball telecasts for 17 years, from 1974 until 1991. Richard retired from acting after the commercials ended. He passed away in 1997 at the age of 71. Well, that's it for this week. As always, thanks for listening. And remember to take Andy's advice and go out there and act like somebody.
Thank you, Randy. And if you would like to make sure you don't miss any of the neat things that Randy's doing around Mayberry, send him an email at turnersgrade@gmail.com. It's turnersgrade@gmail.com. And he'll make sure you don't miss any of the fun stuff that he's doing. Thank you, Randy. I really appreciate it. I didn't know any of that about him. And I do remember the Phillips 76 commercials. I remember those. So this is always fun for me to hear stories like this and to just learn some of these unusual things about the Andy Griffith Show. So hopefully, what have we learned tonight? We have learned what a pork shoulder, a picnic is. We learned that. We learned about license plates not being on the front of the cars in North Carolina starting in 1951 because there was a metal shortage. We learned that. We learned that Andy didn't wear the gun because he didn't like it touching his leg. There's just so, wow, how can you not? This is educational and hopefully entertaining at the same time. Wow. So, folks, it is 4th of July week as we record this. So I want to wish everybody here a wonderful 4th of July as they go forward. And I hope you'll be safe. Take care of yourself. Don't let anything happen to you over the 4th of July holiday so that you can come back here with us next time here on Two Chairs. I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at floyd@imayberry.com. You can call me at 888-684-8415, or you can head over to twochairsnowaiting.com, click the About button, and underneath there you'll find the Contact button. So that's another way you can contact me. Head over and go to Contact, and all that information I just told you is right there. So you can see the phone number, the email address, it's all there. So I love hearing from you guys. I thank you. I want to thank everybody, the patrons, folks that donated to me, and those who are just able to come. Have a great Mayberry week, and we'll see you next time. Bye. And we're clear. Dadgummit, I forgot to mention. Randy said, he told me, and I meant to tell that after the thing, so Randy, sorry about that, that at the time, the grocery store in Convicts at Large was called Crowley's Market. It wasn't Foley's at that time. So it was Crowley's Market. So anyway, I didn't get that. I guess eventually it became that by the 6th season, for sure it was. So I guess it's, you knew where I was talking about. The market, the grocery store right there in Mayberry. But it was Crowley's Market in Convicts at Large, not Foley's. I guess Mr. Foley hadn't bought it yet because he was still married to Rose, and Rose, his name wasn't even Foley at the time. So, folks, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It's always fun for me trying to find new and interesting and unusual and just different stuff for us all to enjoy and have fun with. There's just so much that goes on here related to the Andy Griffith Show and these little videos. That was really fun for me when I saw the one that was actually Ron Quincy. That was really cool that I ran across it. But that is what got me distracted as I was going. Let's see what's going on in the chat room. Let's see. Great show, Floyd. Thank you. Wason. There's Wason. I didn't see him. Thank you. So a lot of you folks will be coming up at the Mayberry meetup. I hope you're going to enjoy yourself there. I checked out my stuff this week to make sure the radio works. So remember, if you're coming to the meetup and you have a little portable radio, bring it with you, because I'm going to transmit the audio from the episodes so that you would be able to pick it up on a FM radio. Okay, so if you have FM radio, bring it with you to the meetup in July, and you'll be able to sit around. No matter where you sit in the crowd, you'll be able to hear really good. So that'll make it fun. And if it rains or anything, you can sit in your car and pretend it's a drive-in movie. You can pull your van up to the screen and watch it. So hopefully it's not going to rain. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But that's our backup plan for an event of rain. And hopefully it wouldn't rain very long if it does rain, but that will at least give us a way to do it. Yeah, just like a drive-in movie theater. And if you have a little radio, I was testing it with mine, and I tried it here. There was a gap in the station, so I did 96 and was able to tune it to it and picked up the station well. You could pick it up throughout my house. So I believe it won't be a problem out in the open there at the Mayberry Motor Inn. So I'm looking forward to this. We'll use it, but I also have my speaker there. So if you don't have a radio, you'll be able to hear it with the speaker as best you can. It can't be Bluetooth, but you couldn't connect to it Bluetooth. I think I can connect to it Bluetooth to transmit if I need to. Yes, I could. But yeah, you'll be using a FM radio. So no rain. That's right. For all of you that are coming. So it should be a lot of fun. You've already seen the setup for those of you that have signed up. I've been sending out the event schedule and everything. So we need, as I said before the show started, if everybody wasn't here, if you're coming to the meetup, we need to have you register by the 10th of July. That's the deadline. Because if you're going to go to the depot or eat sub sandwiches with us, because we've got to be able to order the subs and we have to be able to tell the depot how many we have coming. At the other day, we had 100, basically, a little over 100, I think, go into the depot, 100 of us. So we're going to have about 150 people right now that I know are planning to come to the meetup. So we should have a big crowd. I don't expect that to be everybody there at one time. It'll be some on Friday, some on Saturday. It might not be the same people the whole time, but we should have a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope you're looking forward to the 4th of July. You can go and shoot off some fireworks or go watch fireworks or just stay at home, whatever you'd like to do, obviously, but it should be a lot of fun. C-Mac says my son and I went 2 years ago and it was great. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's good to have you here in the chat room with us. The meetup is definitely a serendipitous, see, I've been reading big words there, event, because the whole idea was just to go and interview Betty Lynn. And then now we've gotten up to 100 people or so coming to the event with us. And wow, it's just been really, really amazing, to tell you the truth. I'm just amazed. And I'm humbled too, that you guys would spend your vacation time to come and just visit with one another, and that I could have anything to do with that is pretty cool. So I'll let you know in the next week or so how many I do have scheduled to come, and you guys will have a better idea of the ones that are coming. And I want to encourage you, if you don't know about it, there's some things on the web that you would probably enjoy seeing. And one of them is the Mayberry Historical Society over at mayberry.info. Now, some of you guys already know about it, but some may not. As you see here on the screen, it's the episode guide section. This is where I was going and looking up the different episodes that we were talking about tonight. And here you can tell I have the filmed order and the aired order. So it shows you filmed and aired in the listing, and as long as the title and the air date. And if you click any of them, it actually takes you, let's go to the one we were talking about tonight. In season 3, we were talking about, let's see, Convicts at Large. So if you click on the Convicts at Large, it'll take you to that episode, and it gives you the description there, tells you who wrote it, has a plot summary, and some odd facts known by a few are on here that most of us are not the few, probably. Actress Rita Shaw played Big Maud Tyler, and she later appeared in episode number 116, The Songfesters, as Barney's voice teacher, Eleanor Poultice. Actress Jane Dulo was in Elvis's movie Roustabout. I didn't know that. I didn't remember that. And Naomi and her husband's song is called Poor Butterfly. And it was later heard on My Fair Ernest T. Bass and at the 20 minute 10-second mark at Mrs. Wiley's party. So that's there. Anyway, there's all kinds of information about different episodes here at the Mayberry Historical Society. And you can contribute if you know how to edit a wiki. You can sign up and you can actually add trivial information about different episodes. You can look up things that you may not know. There's a character listing there. And it's got unseen characters living in Mayberry. And you can, if you go to some of these links, you'll see a long list of characters that were seen but unnamed. We have those. We have lots of unseen characters. I mean, there's a list of them that Colonel Harvey has been putting together. So it's a long list of different people alphabetically. And it even lists off people that are real people that were mentioned but weren't actually seen on the show. Anyway, there's a lot of fun to be had on the internet, just running around looking at some of these things. So hopefully that gives you another little bit of place to look up stuff. Now you got books. I'm sure some of you have Mayberry books, but that's just another location for you to be able to pull out some good Mayberry information about events. And I often put things that we talk about here on the podcast. I put them on this website so that someday I'll be able to remember what I said. So that's a good place to do it. All right, folks, I don't really have too much for us tonight. It's a holiday week, so I encourage everybody to get out there and have a good week and enjoy themselves. Let's see if I've got any videos I could show you as we're heading out of here. But I've got lots of video clips, so that's what I'm looking through here. I mentioned, and I've shown it here before, but I was talking about Cooper and Company, where we saw Danny and Randy Vinson. Here they are. And in the middle is Jamie Cooper. Well, I was on Cooper and Company years ago. I've showed this clip before. I don't know if you guys would want to see it again. Some of you may never have seen it. But this was the summer of 1994. This is when I was about to try doing Floyd the Barber. And so it was my very first attempt. Let's see if I can pull this up.
Tony's Tabletop brought to you by Crawdaddies. We will be highlighting Crawdaddies in Guntersville right now in just a few minutes, when Tony's joined by Floyd Smith and Bubba's.
So this was the first time I ever did Floyd the Barber.
Where Tony performs tonight from 8 till midnight, so y'all get down there to Bubba's. And the new location out near
I was there, and they'd asked me to sit in on this scene.
Either location of Bubba's or Restaurante.
And I did.
Now, Reed's Restaurant in Guntersville.
And they got me to wear a hat, but I was wearing a Floyd the Barber shirt, so he told me, hey, talk like Floyd the Barber. So this is the very first time I ever tried to do Floyd at all out in public. It was the summer before I went to Mayberry Days. So here we go.
We're going to feature Crawdaddies today, Jamie. Have with me Floyd Smith, all the way from Mount Pilot, North Carolina.
That's right there, Tony.
Yeah, Mount Pilot. And I tell you, do y'all have a good seafood place up there?
Oh, it's Crawdaddies. It's wonderful.
Yeah. It is a good, I tell you, Crawdaddies is a wonderful place to eat over in Guntersville, Alabama. They got steamed shrimp, they got steamed fish, they got oysters, and they got crabs, and they got lobster. They got crawfish and mussels. Man, they just got any kind of seafood you want, and it's healthy, and it is delicious.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's just the best place ever.
It is.
It's wonderful there.
It is. It's absolutely wonderful. The atmosphere is great, man. It's just like being on the Gulf Coast. You ever been on the Gulf Coast?
Well, yes, but I can't swim, so I just eat there.
Yeah, you go down there and eat. They got great stuff over at Crawdaddies. Go over to Crawdaddies and enjoy yourself. Go by and see Charlotte. Charlotte was supposed to be here today. Ron was supposed to be here today. They didn't make it, but Floyd Smith made it. And Floyd, we're so glad you're here.
Well, thank you, Tony. It's so good to be here.
Yeah, have you had a haircut recently?
Well, of course I have. After all, I'm a barber.
You're a barber, yeah, and you have 2 chairs and no waiting, right?
That's right, 2 chairs. I'm proprietor of a 2-chair shop.
That is wonderful. That's great. Well, be sure and go by Crawdaddies this weekend. They're open Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Go by and see them and tell Charlotte we said get out of here and really, really enjoy. Their seafood is absolutely the best in all North Alabama. It is absolutely wonderful. Go by and see them and tell them we sent you. Back to you, Jamie.
All right, thank you there, Tony and Floyd speaking.
So there we go. So that was, I don't have my logo on, do I? That was from, 1994, and that was the very first time I ever tried to do Floyd. I'm not sure what I was doing exactly in some of those scenes, but that was my first attempt in front of anybody doing it. I'd been practicing or trying to practice to see what worked and what didn't, but I don't know what voice I was using. It sounds like I was more like an Italian cook or something. But that was my first time. And that was on Cooper and Company. And as I'd mentioned before, that was what we were seeing here with Randy and Danny. They were on Cooper and Company. That show's been on a long time, but they were over there at some point and had this picture made with, that's Jamie Cooper there in the middle. So thanks, Jamie, for giving me my first time on television doing Floyd. So there you go. Thank you. Folks, I don't think I have much else for us tonight. I think that's embarrassing enough. So let's get on out of here and plan to have a great week here in Mayberry. Have a great 4th of July. I hope everything goes great for you guys. And we'll see you next week, right here on Two Chairs, No Waiting. Thanks to everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Good night, everybody.